Chairman of the Constitution Subcommittee, Jerry Nadler of New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Goodling, before you came here to testify, you asserted your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, and you were granted immunity.
Yes.
To assert Fifth Amendment privilege, you're in effect asserting that you're aware of crimes that may have been committed, and you're saying that you don't want to be implicated. What crimes are you aware of that you feared your testimony might be asked about? I
don't believe that I committed any crime.
I didn't ask if you committed it. I said, what crimes were you aware of, or possible crimes you were aware of, that caused you to be concerned enough to seek or to claim the Fifth Amendment?
I asserted the Fifth Amendment based on the fact that these were very ambiguous circumstances in which to testify, and I believed that the Deputy Attorney General had made an allegation that I had deliberately withheld information from him, and I believed that that was a concern, and I wanted...
Okay, so in other words, that his allegation might be construed by some as a crime was your concern?
That was the basis for...
Okay. And are you aware of... Well, thank you. Let me pursue that a moment. You testified a few minutes ago about the Deputy Attorney General, Mr. McNulty, his testimony, which you said was not correct in all respects. In your written statement, you go in some detail into how incorrect it was, and you talk about he testified that he did not have any knowledge of how Tim Griffin came to be recommended for an interim appointment. In fact, you had informed him of the effort to remove Bud Cummins in order to arrange an opportunity for Mr. Griffin since the spring or early summer. The status of the Arkansas office came up frequently in your briefings over the next 6 months. Testified the Parsky Commission worked very well and that they respected the process. Well, in fact, he knew that the department's internal assessment was to the contrary. The deputy also knew that although a determination had been made to continue to use it, there had been some efforts to interview candidates outside the Parsky Commission process, and that he was aware of the department's dissatisfaction with the commission's process because you briefed him. And you also testified that he did not know anything about allegations that Tim Griffin caged black votes, but that in fact you had informed him this issue could arise, and you had prepared him to answer the questions about it. These would seem to be direct contradictions. In effect, your testimony is that the Deputy Attorney General misinformed the Senate Judiciary in sworn testimony. Is that not correct?
I'm just saying that I didn't believe he was fully candid, and the point that I was trying to make is that I did give him some information. I didn't withhold information. I gave him a lot of information, and he had some of that information and didn't use all of it.
Although, in fact, he stated things directly contrary to what your written statement says he knew to be true.
Those would be conclusions for others to draw.
Okay. That's fair enough. Now, let me switch topics for a moment and get back to follow up on some of what Ms. Sanchez was asking about hiring, or rather asking political questions of non-political hirings. The New York Times discussed Robin Ashton, a career prosecutor serving on detail to the Executive Office of the U.S. Attorneys, who was slated to become a career deputy director of EOUSA at around that time. According to the article, the head of EOUSA told Ms. Ashton that she had a Monica problem because you believed she was a Democrat and couldn't be trusted and therefore shouldn't get the career job. Is that correct? Did you seek to deny her a promotion because you believed she was a Democrat?
It wasn't my decision to make or not make in terms of giving her a promotion. When I got to the executive office, I was actually excited about working with Ms. Ashton because she had a lot of really good experience as a prosecutor, much more than I did, and I thought that we would complement each other very well. You know, looking back on it, I think it was mostly the case of two Type A women. She'd been in the office as the only deputy.
But you did not recommend that she should not be promoted.
You know, I don't really remember the discussions back at that time very well. What I remember was that she had been the deputy for a long time by herself, and when I arrived, a lot of the responsibilities that she had were shifted to me, and I thought she resented that, and as a result, it made for a tense office environment.
Okay. Now, in general, you've testified or there's been statements made, and you've essentially agreed with that and regretted it in your testimony today and in your written testimony, that you did ask a number of people either for career positions in the Justice Department or for assistant U.S. attorney positions questions about their political beliefs or affiliations?
Yes, let me clarify, though, that I didn't actually interview AUSA candidates.
But you asked such questions. My one question is, were any of your superiors in the Justice Department aware, or did anybody instruct you or suggest that these questions should be asked or agree with these questions being asked, or were aware that you were asking such kinds of questions either for assistant U.S. attorneys or for any other career position, or for career positions at all?
In some cases, relating to immigration judges, when I started my position as White House liaison, I was informed that the Office of Legal Counsel had said that because those were positions under a direct appointment authority of the Attorney General, that we could consider other factors in those cases. Later, concerns were raised as a result of some litigation, and the Civil Division came to a different conclusion. As a result of that, we actually froze hiring in December of last year, but certainly
Wait a minute, you froze hiring, why?
Gentleman's time has expired. You can finish your answer, ma'am.
We froze hiring into immigration judges. There were some other times when I was asked to help facilitate the placement of somebody that we knew to be a Republican in career positions, and sometimes those were at the request of other people in the department.
Thank you.